You ever feel like your law firm's growth is just unpredictable? One quarter, you're absolutely killing it. The next, it's a struggle. The problem usually isn't about a lack of talent. It's about the lack of a system. Today, we're going to break down the blueprint for moving away from that reactive, firefighting mode and into a more architectural, predictable way to grow.
This quote from Michael Buzinski just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? We all know those heroic team members. They're incredible, but they're also holding the entire firm together with sheer effort, and that's a huge risk. I mean, what happens when they take a well-deserved vacation, or worse, move on? The whole growth engine just sputters. It's just not a sustainable way to build a business.
So here's our game plan for this explainer. We'll kick things off with that core problem. Then we'll look at the two different worlds of law. From there, we'll dive into the B2B growth engine, how to build the flywheel, and how to make the system actually work for you. And we'll wrap up with your firm's next move.
Okay, let's dig into the fundamental choice that every single law firm has to make. Are you a firefighter, constantly just reacting to emergencies, or are you an architect, proactively designing long-term value for your clients? Because this one choice, it dictates pretty much your entire approach to growth.
And this slide just boils it all down so perfectly. You've got the B2C firefighter on one side. This is all about incident management. Think a car crash, a divorce. It's driven by emotion, by an immediate, urgent need. Then you have the B2B architect. They're building risk architecture. Their clients aren't panicking. They're making cold, hard, logical decisions based on financial return on investment. Two totally different worlds.
And you can see how that one difference just cascades into everything else. For the B2C firefighter, the trigger is a crisis. You're dealing with an individual, and the whole sales cycle is super short and transactional. Success is all about the number of matters you can handle. But for the B2B architect, it's a completely different game. The trigger is a strategic goal. You're not talking to one person, you're dealing with a whole buying committee. The sales cycle is long and consultative. And success, it's not about volume. It's all about client lifetime value.
Okay, so if you've decided you want to be that architect, how do you actually build the structure that leads to predictable revenue? Well, that's exactly what this next section is about. Engineering your own B2B growth engine.
And this is really the million-dollar question, isn't it? If relying on those heroic individual efforts just leads to that revenue roller coaster we talked about, what's the alternative? How do you actually move from a bunch of fragmented, disconnected actions to a unified, repeatable process that predictably grows the firm?
The solution is a framework called the Honeycomb Client Flywheel. Now, I want you to think of this as the central operating system for your firm's growth. It's a way to organize the entire buyer journey into these connected stages, so you turn what used to be chaos into one cohesive system that actually builds momentum over time.
And here's what makes it a flywheel, not a funnel. See, a funnel has an end. A flywheel just keeps spinning. You attract the right clients, you activate their interest, you prove that they're a good fit, you anchor them with a quick win, advance the relationship to find more ways to help, and then, and this is key, you turn them into advocates who bring you new business, which starts the whole cycle over again. Each stage literally powers the next one.
All right, so that's the big idea. Now let's get practical. We're going to break down each of those 6 stages piece by piece and show you exactly how this growth engine is put together.
It all starts with attract, where you're capturing the right fit buyers with content that actually speaks to their needs. Then you activate that interest by building trust through your expertise. Approve is that critical filter, making sure it's a great fit for both of you. Once they're a client, you anchor them by delivering a fast first win. You got to reinforce that they made the right choice. From there, you advance the relationship, finding new ways to add value. And finally, you turn them into advocates, the ones who generate those referrals and testimonials that fuel the entire flywheel all over again.
So you've got the blueprint, right? But you can't build a house without tools. So in this next part, let's look at the key tools and methods that really bring this whole architect approach to life.
First up is something called Key Account Management, or CAM. Really, it's just a structured way of making sure you're not treating all your clients equally. It's about focusing your firm's best resources, your time, your top people, on the key accounts that are going to be the most important to your success in the long run. Next is risk mapping. And honestly, this is a total game changer. Instead of just waiting for a client to call you with a problem, risk mapping is where you proactively go in and uncover their full range of risks, both legal and operational. You go from being just a service provider to a true strategic advisor who sees threats and opportunities they haven't even spotted yet.
And finally,
there's legal design. I mean, think about it. How often do you hand over a 50-page document that only another lawyer could possibly understand? Legal design is the answer to that. It's about using plain language, visuals, and just smart thinking to make your legal work understandable, accessible, and genuinely useful to the business teams that have to work with it every day.
So, when you put all these tools together, CAM, risk mapping, and legal design, they're all working towards one big goal: to embed your firm so deeply into your clients' day-to-day operations that you're no longer just another vendor. You become an indispensable, strategic partner. You become sticky.
Okay, let's bring it all home in our final section. We've gone through the theory, we've seen the framework, we've talked about the tools. So what does this journey from firefighter to architect actually look like in practice?
Look, building this system doesn't happen overnight. It's a deliberate 12-month process. In the first 3 months, you're just getting your data connected and setting the rules of the game. Then, you move on to aligning your marketing and sales teams. Later, you're strengthening how you onboard clients and expand those relationships. It's all about compounding your results and moving from chaos to clarity, 1 quarter at a time.
And this isn't just theory. The results are real and they are tangible. Just look at this chart. Firms that actually align their systems see these huge gains. Revenue growth and win rates get a really healthy bump. But look at the impact on marketing-driven revenue. That's a 209% increase. That's the power of having a well-oiled system.
And that brings us to the final, critical question for your firm. Are you going to keep building a practice that just reacts to today's incidents, constantly putting out fire after fire? Or are you going to be the architect of tomorrow's opportunities, carefully designing the blueprints for predictable, sustainable growth? The choice really is yours.